Hello and welcome to the AtTheRaces.com big race betting preview. We are previewing, of course, the biggest race of them all, the Qatar Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. And with us, we have two of the biggest hitters from the At The Races website to preview the big race. First up, Mr. Simon Rowlands joins us. Welcome to Simon. We are also joined by Declan Ricks, and a very warm welcome to Declan as well. Welcome, both of you. Lots to get stuck into. I think we'll take it horse by horse to start with in the Arc. We'll start with what's been a long-term anti-post favourite. Will she go off favourite? Not clear by any means. But Tarnawa has been the favourite for this. She went Vermeil Prix de l'Opera last year. This year she's heading for the Arc itself. Great trial, many thought, in the Champion Stakes in Ireland, Simon.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she got pretty much the perfect trial there, beaten narrowly, possibly a shade unfortunately by St Mark's Basilica. Over 10 furlongs, she's going to be well suited by a return to 12. She really should go well, but I do think she's a good filly, a good mare, rather than a superstar, and her odds are plenty short enough for me. I'm certainly interested in one or two others as alternatives.
Yes, well, she has been heading the market. She ran in the, as I said, Declan, in the Vermeil and the Prix de l'Opera last year. Many of us would have quite liked to have seen her in the Arc last year, those of us who are in the Tarnawa camp. Where do you stand on her?
Yeah, look, I agree with plenty of what Simon has said there. You know, she comes here on the back of maybe the best prep, which was essentially about a 2.5 furlong sprint against St Mark's Basilica in the Irish Champion Stakes. You know, that's a good level of form, and you know, getting back up to 12 furlongs is going to be a big plus for her, I think. You know, we're watching the VT here this day when she won the Opera. She overcame a significant pace bias this day. I thought she did very well to win as well as she did, given where she came from. And her sectionals this day stacked up very well with what the Arc winner Sotsas did. So I actually think, although it's a bit pie in the sky, I think if she actually ran in the Arc this day, I think she probably would have won it. But alas, we shall never know.
We will never know. Where she came from was the phrase that Declan used there. And we could have shown any number of her runs, Simon. We could have shown the Vermeil. We could have shown the Breeders' Cup run on the turf there. And the same comment would apply, that she comes from a little way back. That might be a challenge, mightn't it, in an Arc? Yes.
It's unclear at this stage precisely how many runners we're going to get, but it's going to be double figures. It could be decent double figure field. And there's going to be a lot of horses to get past and manoeuvre around in the closing stages in all likelihood. She's done it before and she's got a lot of ability, but I think everything has to go absolutely right for her to win this. I'm certainly not down on her chances, but at the kind of price she is at the moment, I'd like a little bit more ease and comfort, given the fact that she might have a troubled run in the closing stages. We shall see.
I think she's nearly guaranteed a trouble run myself. I'm against her because of precisely that. We think of horses coming from slightly off the pace winning Arcs, but they don't really in recent years. Even the likes of Valgeist were in the front 3 or 4 throughout most of the race. I think it's fair to say. So I'd be a little bit against her. We will see in terms of what she faces. Don't forget, you'll see this race and all of the sporting races live on Sky Sports Racing on Sunday. So do join us. Do join us for the whole day. We'll be there in the morning, previewing the racing, bringing you the latest news and all the way through as well. So Tarnawa, a little bit of a lukewarm reception for her chances. What about Adayar? We'll start with you here, Declan, with Adayar. Simon said things will need to go right for Tarnawa. What could go wrong for Adayar and why could he win?
Well, I suppose what could go wrong is him being pretty keen after a 71-day break, Sean. I think we saw in the King George just how fiery this colt can get, and you know, you just worry and you just hope a bit of keenness doesn't kind of come into his game, and William Buick's fighting him for, you know, the first half of the race. But you know, if he settles and he gets a nice lead and some good pace to run at, it's going to be a big help to him. Look, in terms of form, there's no doubt. He's got some of the best form on offer. I think there's very little in terms of form to separate him and Tarnawa when you add in Tarnawa's 6 allowance. And physically, I think, Sean, there could be more to come from him. As we can see on the VT there, he's a big strapping son of Frankel. You know, I think he's only going to get better as the year goes on, and probably maybe potentially even better again next year. So, you know, he's a Derby winner, he's a King George winner, he's got a wonderful profile, and he's trained by a wonderful trainer as well. So, yeah, there's plenty to like about Adayar.
There is indeed. Simon, how does his form stack up in terms of hard, cold sort of time analysis as well? We know he's won a Derby and a King George, which is, you know, theoretically the best form around. Is that backed up?
Absolutely, and I agree with what Declan's just said there. I have him top on ratings, not by a lot, by a length or two over Tarnawa and a little bit more over the others. I think he's done amazingly well in a short space of time. His Derby win was in a really good time, and I thought he was vulnerable at Ascot, possibly against even better horses on firm ground, but he dealt with them really easily, and that was only his 6th ever start. He's progressed with every run so far. The recent vibes from the stable seem to be pretty positive about him as well. I don't generally pay that much attention to that, but given that there had been a slight scare a few weeks ago, that's really encouraging. So I think not only is Adayar the horse with the best form, but he's the horse who's most clearly going the right way at this stage as well.
Yeah. By the time people are watching this, he may be favourite. I'm getting the feeling from both of you, in a word, Declan and Simon, start with you, Declan. Would he be the right favourite in your view, Adayar? Should he be favourite?
Yes, but marginally.
Simon?
Yes, but marginally for me too.
I'd say yes, he should be the clear favourite myself, because I have bigger negatives about Tarnawa than the other fellas. I think Adayar's the standout horse. What a thing it would be, a Derby King George Arc triple for Adayar. What a thing that would be to round off the brilliant season that Godolphin have had. Don't forget, you can comment on what you fancy in the Arc, whether you think we're talking absolute nonsense, maybe you're massively with Tarnawa, maybe against Adayar, maybe you think he could get a bit keen in the early stages of the race. Can get a bit lit up in the early stages of races. He's been able to totally overcome that with ease so far. So please feel free to give your comments as well and tell us what you like in the Prix de l'Arc. Triomphe. We're going to move on because there are lots of horses in loads more classic form to get to as well. Hurricane Lane. A lot of people, Simon, have said, well, you know, Ledger winners don't go on and win Arcs, which is always a bit of a silly thing to say because it depends, A, how many have tried, and B, what kind of what kind of Ledger winners they were. This horse is a very classy Ledger winner potentially, isn't he?
Oh, undoubtedly. And remember that he won at this course and distance at Longchamp in July by 6 lengths. Admittedly, getting the run of the race that day from the front, and Alenquer, who finished strongly into a place, should finish closer to him. But Hurricane Lane's a good St Ledger winner. But it's a bit of a different ask against horses like Tarnawa and Adayar and Chronogenesis than beating Mojo Star here. Hurricane Lane's taken almost everything that's been thrown at him so far, so I'm not too concerned that he will suffer too much from the exertions of this race, but he's going to have to run several lengths better, I would think.
Yeah, well, he was half the price, less than half the price, about a third the price of Adayar in the Derby, of course, and William Buick was on him rather than Adayar that day. Declan, where do you stay on Hurricane Lane?
Yeah, I think as an individual, Sean, he's a very likeable horse. You know, he's straightforward. He's progressed with racing all year. He's got quicker. He's got sharper. He's got a good attitude. Physically, there's lots to like about him. But I just, you know, not that the Ledger is a prep. You know, it's a classic in its own right. It's a wonderful race. But you know, in terms of a prep coming into an Arc, I just don't like that. It's I thought the trip probably stretched him late in the race. Post race he looked pretty tired to me as well, and he's going to have to have a wonderful constitution to back up and run very well in an Arc. The other thing with him is I think at this level I think he'd probably want soft ground to have a chance of winning. So look, I just think at the prices, nothing against the horse, very likeable, trained by a top man again. But I don't like his prep, and I'm happy to take him on.
Yeah, obviously at the time of recording, Simon, we don't know what the going is going to be in France. There's been a lot of rain in France generally at a lot of the French tracks that we've been covering on Sky in recent weeks, but not all of it's been hitting Paris, to be fair.
No, that's true. But I did have a quick look at the weather app this morning, and there seems to be quite a bit of rain around for Paris. Certainly from Thursday onwards and right through till Saturday evening, Sunday morning. So I would have thought, it'll be on the easy side. It would be my prediction. And my comments are sort of framed with the expectation of maybe good to soft ground or something like that.
Yeah, you would think so,
often,
wouldn't you? And certainly it was on the soft side, of course, at Epsom, better ground, arguably, for the Ledger. Talking of the Ledger and that Hurricane Lane win that we were just watching, you can go back and watch it yourself, of course, on the At The Races website. Also on the At The Races website, you get full sectional analysis of that race and loads of other key races as well on the website on attheraces.com, which is a good place to do your research. You might get stuck into one or two of Simon and Declan's articles as well while you're on there on attheraces.com. What about Snowfall? We're talking about classic form. That I can't think of a more impressive classic winner probably in my lifetime, Declan, than Snowfall, who won the Oaks by an absolute street. She comes in here off the back of a defeat, and Aidan O'Brien and Frankie Dory both said, well, you don't need to worry about that too much. In a way, it's good to get beaten in a trial. What do you now make of Snowfall?
Look, I think that the thing with Snowfall for me is visually she's been sensational, and that Oaks win was sensational. She put up a good number that day, but I do think now time has shown she's probably flattered by that winning distance. I think she was beating up far inferior horses, and horses who also didn't stay that trip at the Oaks, which we know Epsom is a stiff track on rain-affected ground. But look, she's a lovely horse, don't get me wrong. My issue with Snowfall all year in concern with the Arc was just her price. I think she was as short as 9-4, 5-2, that kind of price. But I think we saw probably, not going to say her limits, because she's still a young horse trained by an absolute top man. The first couple of good horses she bumped into in the Vermeer show, and she was beaten. Now we have to caveat that significantly with Frankie giving her a poor ride. He was too far out of his ground, gave her too much to do, and she came home very well. So to be fair now, she's a more backable price at about circa 6-1. So yeah, she's lots to like, and as we all know, 3-year-old fillies in the Arc recently have done pretty well.
Yeah, she was dominating the market for a long time, Simon, wasn't she, prior to recent events, and she is now a price, I suppose. Where do you stand on Snowfall? Has Declan got a point about maybe she was flattered by that Oaks win?
I think so. I said so at the time. Not flattered by the win, but by the record margin. The sectionals backed that up as well. That she's probably valued for only about half of her winning margin. Still pretty impressive, but the horses behind her in that race, and also at the Curragh when she won the Irish Oaks, have not done an awful lot for the form, the majority of them anyway. Like Declan, I think Snowfall's a bit better than she showed in the Vermeer. The sectionals back that up. She possibly should have won the Vermeer, but ordinary horses not too far back in that, and she's going to have to be quite a lot better than that in the Arc, quite a lot better, and I'm still against her. I think she'll do well to make the first three.
Unless, of course, Tiona is not ordinary, which she might not be. We mustn't forget that she was only about 5 or 6-1 to win the Oaks, Declan. She was hotly fancied for that. Ground might be an issue for her because they blame the ground at Epsom, I think, for her defeat. But I'm kind of inclined to remember what they were saying about her at the start of the season. It's remarkable that she went from what she did at Windsor to go and do what she did in the Vermeer there. And I think her price is probably underestimating her now.
Yeah, she is probably one of the more interesting one at the prices, all right, Sean. I really liked what she did in the Vermeer. I think if we get an end-to-end Arc with lots of pace for her to run at, one, it'll help her settle because she's a little bit fiery mentally, but she's growing up. And the other one is she was quite relentless. I think she's spicy the stars out of an authorised mare. She looked to stay. I liked how her and Snowfall hit the line in the Vermeer. So if she gets some pace to run at, she's one of the more interesting ones at the prices. So yeah, she is interesting. I think Olivier Pellier is going to keep the ride on her by the sounds as well. Yeah,
who did a good job. Others have done a good job on her recently as well. I think it was Ray Dawson, wasn't it, at Windsor, who did a good job of settling her there. You can check that on the website, of course, on attheraces.com. You can also check prices. I think she's a big price, Tiona. fingers crossed it doesn't get too soft for her, which would certainly blunt her chance, I think, but she's a massive prize. How big? Check on the website, www.attheraces.com. All the latest betting for the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe there on the website. Do check that out because it's a constantly evolving situation. I saw a headline in the papers, Simon, saying from Machine Murphy saying, do not underestimate Chronogenesis. We've done exactly that. We haven't even talked about the Japanese challenge, Deep Bond and Chronogenesis. Are we underestimating them? They're on people's radar, of course, because the Japanese interest is always an interesting angle. What do we make of Chronogenesis?
I think we are underestimating her slightly. She ran Mishrif very close in Dubai at the beginning of the year. Mishrif's a better horse since, and that was a rather messy race with ordinary horses behind. But Chronogenesis has got lots of form back in Japan that stacks up as being high class, possibly not arc winning class in an ordinary year, but if one or two of the others underperform, she should be right there in the mix. She's ultra dependable, 10 furlongs, 12 furlongs, soft ground, firm ground, and I think she'll run well. Whether running well will be quite good enough to win it, I have slight doubts, but at a bigger price, she's one of the more interesting runners.
Yes, she is. We were just watching the Shima Classic there, Declan. Mishrif beating her by only a neck, Loves Only You, and Walton Street well behind that day as well. I suppose one factor is we think that the Japanese have brought better horses than her before and not won an arc, but that's not to say that she can't go and win this arc.
Yeah, I wouldn't think like that. I think you kind of just judge individual races on their merits. I wouldn't kind of delve into what the Japanese have brought in the past. They have brought some very good horses, and she's a very good horse as well. And obviously she'll get the sex allowance as well. I just worry a little bit with her, Sean. That form on paper looks very good behind Mishrif now in the Shima Classic, but I'd be pretty confident Mishrif has progressed since then. And we shouldn't forget that Shima Classic was also over 12 furlongs, and Mishrif is probably better over 10. What I will say about Chronogenesis, I think she loved the European style of racing. She travels really well. She's got a very good attitude, and I think an end-to-end gallop will really suit her. Because if Oisin can find some cover off that, it's going to play to her strength. So there are positives and negatives. I actually think the other Japanese horse, I don't know what you and Simon think. I think the other Japanese horse, just in terms of prices, is far too big a price compared to her on form. But look, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm an expert on Japanese form. No chance.
In some respects, Declan, you don't need to be, do you? Because Deep Bond, Simon, won the Prix Foy, I should say, beat Broome. Scaletti was well behind. Sublimi was well behind. I know it's a trial, and question marks over pace and what was going on for different horses, but he won it fair and square, didn't he?
Probably. It was a particularly tactical race. All three of the 2,400 metre races on Arc Trials Day were tactical. This one in particular, and he got a tremendous ride here. He's more of a stayer than Chronogenesis back in Japan, according to my research. Like Declan, I'm not an authority on it, but I think he benefited from a really good ride. He's a long striding horse. He'll do very well to repeat the same or similar in the Arc de Triomphe. But he's a good horse, 118 rated, and not far off being good enough to get placed in an Arc de Triomphe. But I think another 2 or 3 furlongs would probably not go amiss for him.
We should very quickly wrap up anything we haven't touched on. We seem to have not even mentioned Love, who was the first name off Aidan O'Brien's lips when he was asked about his Arc horses the other day. Declan, we haven't mentioned Alenka either. Love and Alenka or anything else that we should have touched on in your mind?
Yeah, well, Love is definitely worth to mention. We shouldn't forget last year that she was actually favoured for this race coming into the build-up, but she was pulled out on soft ground before the gain feeds the back of the... I think she started the season not great. I know she did win a Group 1, but that form was below what she was doing last year. But I just thought there were signs of life again last time out at the Curragh. I think that's the best I've seen her move all season. And stepping back up to 12 furlongs is going to be a massive positive. Frankie rides by the sounds, and if she gets some good ground to run on, if Frankie can go out and set some good, honest fractions, because that's what she needs an end-to-end gallop. She's won I could see running into the frame at a decent price. Alan Carr, likeable sort. He's progressing with racing. I think soft ground will help him, but he is a nice enough mover that kind of good ground won't be an issue. I don't think his form is good enough. He's a young horse progressing, so he's entitled to take his chance.
Yeah, Alan Kerr, we've seen glimpses, Simon, which will make you quite excited, and then some which will sort of temper your enthusiasm, I guess. Love, Alenka, any other business for you?
No, I don't think so. I think we've covered the main contenders there. I think Love is always probably been a little bit below art winning standard. Rather like Snowfall, she duffed up not so good horses last year, and I think she's been slightly exposed this year, but a likeable filly. I can't see Alenka improving quite enough to become a contender compared to getting beaten by Hurricane Lane when not getting a great ride and also getting smashed up by Mishriff last time.
Yeah. Lots of horses quoted for the Arc. Not all of them will line up. Rabir, I think, is unlikely to line up in the Arc. Be nice enough to see her there, but I think that's unlikely. Seelyway, our colleague Laurent Barbrand has made a case for it, a big price, although tentatively, obviously the French Challenge a bit thin on the ground. So panel selections. We'll start with you, Declan. Where's your fiver going?
I'm gonna go with Adayar, Sean. I think he's got the best profile. He's probably just marginally got the best form, and there could be more to come. But if you're looking for a horse at a big price, we shouldn't forget that we might get 4, potentially 5 places with bookmakers here if they're feeling very generous and we get a big field. If that scenario plays out, I'm interested at Love at about 25 or 33s if the ground stays good or better.
Yeah, so Love at a big price, particularly if you get some place concessions, but Adayar for Declan. Simon, what about you?
I'm also in the Adayar camp. I would suggest Chronogenesis as the best outside him and a possibility to finish second.
There you go. I'm sticking with Tiona. I don't want to see too much rain in Paris, I don't think. I don't want it to certainly to be very, very soft for Tiona, because I think she might struggle to get home. But I think maybe we need to start taking her at face value, and she did win the Vermeil on her way to the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. So those are the selections of the panel. A couple others to consider at big prices as well. Don't forget, you can check out all of the form, check out the video archive, all the analysis on attheraces.com. You can also bet, of course, on via the attheraces.com website, all of the various prices there on the website. And, of course, if you're on the move, as we all are, you might be sitting in a queue for petrol still by the time the races run. Take the app with you, the At The Races app, and you can do all of that research online on the app as well. Lots of good reasons for staying with At The Races over the coming days as we build up to a wonderful, wonderful race. Thanks to Declan and to Simon. You will also find online our other preview programme, which covers the rest of a stellar day in Paris on Sunday. Thanks for watching.